Some men cut trees because it's a job. Some men chop trees for the challenges of speed and accuracy. Some men do both. The STIHL Timbersports Series with host Jerry McInnes is proud to present the New England Cup. Today we'll travel to Hopkinton, New Hampshire, where lumberjacks from all across America have gathered in top form to put their skills to the ultimate test. New England, the home of maple syrup and superb fall colors, today plays host to the best lumberjacks in the world.
Well, I'm Jerry McInnes, and welcome to Hopkinton, New Hampshire, a very popular stop along the lumberjack circuit, an event that is held in conjunction with the New Hampshire State Fair. Our top lumberjack here will take home the New England Cup.
The STIHL Timbersports Series, brought to you by STIHL. When you depend on tools, depend on STIHL.
Timbersports continues with its fourth and final qualifying event today. At the end of this event, we'll know who our top 20 lumberjacks are, who's going to those finals. If you look at our leaderboard, you'll notice that Mel Lentz and Mark Etchberry and Roland Esslinger have a great position. A position that probably won't change. However, this event is really important to other competitors, those that are trying to solidify their spot or actually sneak into that elite 20.
Well, I'm sitting in 8th place, I believe it is, with the points, and depending on how I do today in the Springboard, which I have next, will determine on my position when we go into the finals.
Is your father also going to be there?
Yeah, he'll be there. He's quite high up in the standings, competed in the other chainsaw events, which I don't, but he's going to be there, and I think he's sitting in about 4th position right now. He's looking forward to it also.
Well, that's got to be kind of a little bit of extra thrill for you to be competing with your father, alongside of him, and obviously he's taught you a lot.
Yeah, definitely. He's been the guy that, well, as you say, my father taught me everything. Started off, I had great gear to use because he does the gear, and he's a great teacher. He has helped a lot of the top competitors in the world, so I've had a good start on the sport.
A good start on the sport, is that what he said? Boy, what an understatement. John's an excellent chopper, and today he's going against veteran Arden Koger from Webster Springs, West Virginia. John and his father Cliff are from New Zealand. Chopping events are real popular down under, so you see lots of talented choppers come from that part of the world. And Arden, well, and just about his entire family compete in lumberjack events in West Virginia and all over the country. Both of these competitors have their springboard in the first position, started on their second position, and this is where it starts getting difficult. The object is to get to that second springboard position, then chop the top off the log in the shortest amount of time. Sounds easy, doesn't it? It's not. As I've always said, this, in my opinion, is Timbersports' toughest event.
The difficult part of that chop on the block is turning for the second cut where they have to cut cross-handed to get that block
Arden's
off.
board is really out of position here. It's not flat, but you want, there's a nice board position where you can come up with some good leverage. Leverage is such a key to make that chop at the top, easy. Notice the difference between John's board and Arden's. Ooh, boy. Arden is really fighting it there. Incidentally, you won't find these axes at your local hardware store. They're custom made and well taken care of, and John is just about through his chop. And Arden is still fighting the shaky board. Notice that he has to stand real close to the log, which takes away some of his swing. If he got on the end of the log, or end of the springboard, it would probably tip. About got her, though. Atta boy, Arden.
Round of applause for John and Arden. Notice there.
Ready for round two. We've got Jim Colbert from Winstead, Connecticut, and Mike Sullivan from Winstead, Connecticut. That's kind of unusual. The guys from the same hometown, big buddies, and here they are pitted against each other in the heat of the springboard event. Both Mike and Jim are excellent competitors. Jim's a big man with a lot of brute strength. I believe you could say that about everybody today, though. He also brings a lot of experience in, though, and Mike played Major League Baseball for the Cincinnati Reds, was a catcher, loves to tell us about the day he caught Tom Sievert. I bet he loves to tell us about the day he beat his buddy Jim Colbert, too. Both men are at the top now, beginning their chop. And you know, even if you make a good time coming up the board, you can still have a bad chop at the top, or just the opposite could happen. You could lag around getting to the top and have a great chop. So what I'm trying to say is here you have to put it all out, all the way. And again, as I said before, so much depends on the leverage. So much depends on how your springboard is set. Both Mike and Jim have flat boards at this moment, and Mike seems to have a bit of an edge. And he's really working on a good time here. One more chop, Mike. Jim's board was positioned very well, but you can see right now it's beginning to slant a little bit to the back. And just as in the case with Arden Colger, Jim has to move real close to the log now, and that takes away his swing at that block. A lot cut out in the face, though, so he won't have too much to finish it off. There he goes. Third and last heat finds Mike Sullivan probably the man to beat here, but we got two tough choppers yet to go. Charlie Van Hall from Saratoga Springs, New York, and Eiler Adams all the way from Eureka, Montana. And these two guys might fool you just a little bit, particularly Charlie, because Charlie's not a big man. Always seems to do so well, though, in the chopping events, has such great technique. And Eiler, well, my buddy Eiler is such a soft-spoken character that you might think he isn't a tough competitor. You watch. When it all shakes down, both these guys will be somewhere in the money. And today, they're both doing well. Charlie's having a great cut. I want you to look at that nice flat board. Perfect position right there. Looking strong, Charlie. Both Charlie and Eiler have really interesting professions. Eiler manufactures wood pellets out of scrap wood and sawdust. Takes the pellets in and burns them in special stoves, and they're non-polluting to the environment. Charlie has a recycling business in New York. So they're both helping our environment, and it's looking every bit like today may be Charlie Van Hall's day. Boy, that was a good time. And Eiler, I know those last cuts are agonizing. You can see your opponent's already finished. You have to hang in there, though, because remember, you're competing against the clock. You need a good time to place in the money. About got her, Eiler. There he goes. We're going to bring you all the springboard results in just a minute. Springboard results, and Charlie Van Hall had a great time, 1 minute and 8 seconds. Look at the gap between him and Mike Sullivan at 1 minute and 19 seconds, and then he's followed by John Hughes and Charlie Wyken. And I hear engines warming up down on the field, so that must mean the beginning of some stock saw competition. We've got beautiful New England weather today. The perfect day for this lucky crowd to take in the New Hampshire State Fair and enjoy some fierce lumberjack competition. Here we go in the first heat of the stock saw competition. Jim Taylor, Central Valley, California, going against Charlie Wyken from Preston, Connecticut. Both competitors are using identical saws now, and they must make 3 cuts, end up with 3 complete discs. Then they're going to be asked to immediately walk over to an axe throw target and see what their accuracy is like. Jim Taylor by a split second. Both Jim and Charlie say their favorite event is axe throw. Well, we're going to find out whether they're any good at it or not. Adrenaline is still pumping from that speed cut. And now make a throw for accuracy. Sounds a little tricky. Great throw by Jim. Hey, Jim brings back a big 4. I bet he's happy with that. Very close to the bullseye, Jim. Now, Charlie's had about maybe 15 seconds to rest. Let's see if it helps him out any. Charlie Wyken, Preston, Connecticut. And he's a little bit disappointed with that throw. Pick him up 3 extra bonus points, though. New heat. Let's bring out Scott Furlan from Morrisville, Vermont, and let's put him up against Jim Colbert. And as I always say, don't try these techniques at home, man. Always follow the instructions in your owner's manual. And you'll notice that these competitors are wearing safety chaps and glasses, which is a great idea when operating a chainsaw. Anywhere, anytime. Too close to call. Boy, that was a good cut by both competitors. Now we'll send them over and see how accurate they are up against the target with an axe, which always looks so easy till you try it. You're kind of amazed how small that target becomes when you're hurling an axe at it. Jim Colbert's a great competitor. Let's see how his throwing arm is today. And that was an accurate pitch, but I believe he will be disqualified because both tips of the axe are in the wood. Tough one, Jim. A great throw, too. Scott's going to have a little bit of advantage of an extra few seconds rest. Hopefully that will help him make a good axe throw. Well, I'll tell you what, I believe that he, too, has been disqualified. The tips of the axe cannot both be in the wood. If they are, you come up with no score. Well, that was a toughie, wasn't it? Last heat, though. We've got Ron Johnson from Volleton, Connecticut, going against Don Quigley from nearby Dover, New Hampshire. The saws are brought here by the dealer, so no contestant is familiar with the particular saw he's using. True test of the saw's ability and not the ability of the saw. Boy, another close one. I'll tell you what. Ron specializes in the sawing events, especially the hot saws. That was a tight one.
Don and Ron will take their throws.
Ron ready for his axe throw. Oh,
It happens.
I don't believe I've seen that before. Not very often anyway. Ron completely missed the target, and we still don't have a bullseye today. Tell you what, I'll bet Don Quigley can do it. Hey, here's a great guy. Just loves this sport. Competes all around the country, but of course winning the New England Cup would be very special for him. But not with that throw, Don. I know that's disappointing. He needed a bullseye there so badly. So in spite of missing the target completely, Ron Johnson is taking first place. Look, he's 12 100ths ahead of Scott Furlan. Then Jim Colbert and Don Quigley follow.
Had a very quick getting on the wood and pretty good switches in between, and just everything went right for me. I would say they were very well matched. They all cut just about the same speed, and it really come down to whoever run it the best, or if anybody made just a little mistake. Just happens I had a really good run. No, didn't make any mistakes.
Jerry McInnes here, and Timber Sports continues from beautiful New Hampshire with hot saw contestants Charlie Wyken. Charlie is from Connecticut, and Don Dolliver from Vermont. And they're ready to turn loose for 3 cuts on that 24-inch log. Yes, sir. Charlie's the man in the first heat as he races against the clock, and actually, Don Dolliver will have a disqualification for cutting past the 6-inch boundary line. All 3 cuts must be within a 6-inch area. Don's first 2 cuts were all right, but that last one really pushed it a little bit too much. He saw his way in around 100 pounds, and they begin pulling off center just a little bit. They're almost unstoppable. Cutting out of the log will give you a disqualification, and that foul line is normally from 4 to 6 inches in, and cutting beyond it will also give you no score. Right there's the perfect cut. As a matter of fact, this illustration right here is the cut that Wisconsin's Rick Halverson and Leo Lessard from Linden, Vermont. That's what they're looking for. There's Rick. Good competitor. Leo's ready to go, and these are modified saws, hardly any ground rules size-wise, and the big question is always, will they start when I reach for them? Leo looks to have won that heat, and Rick Halverson has done just exactly what we illustrated a minute ago. His last cut was not a perfect disc. Take a look here. He's all right till he goes back down. Now he's cut out. Comes about 3/4 of the way in, and like Don Dolliver, he is disqualified. Eugene Villeneuve is half of our next heat, and he's not taking any chances. Lots of problems today with those lines. Actually, he's marking his cuts along with underlining the boundary line. There's the other half of the heat, Ron Johnson. Both these hot sawyers come for this event primarily. They're pumped up for the hot saw. Ron runs a Suzuki 250, Villeneuve a Yamaha 250, and this will be a good one, I promise you.
Ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes, Eugene Villeneuve by a very slim margin, and a victory is particularly important to someone who participates in only one event. Well, they must do well because they don't have anywhere to pick up any extra points, so I know Eugene is proud. Great cut. Boy, he brought it in under 8 seconds, 7.87 for Eugene Villeneuve. He's followed by Charlie Wyken, Ron Johnson, and Leo Lessard. Boy, don't you love those hot saws.
We'll be right back with the one-man buck competition.
Full house today here in New Hampshire, and at one point during the day, this crowd was treated to a Pro-Am demonstration of a 2-man buck given by Mike Sullivan And yours
All right.
truly. I've never done this.
Never done that?
Our reigning
Okay.
champion with the crosscut saw.
We'll, no, spread your legs straight with the saw. Get them nice and straight. No, the other way. Parallel with the saw. There
Okay.
you go.
All
Come
right.
a little closer to the log. Spread out a little bit
Give you
more.
all a flavor for
Little bit
how
more.
we're going to be getting
There you
each
go,
of
that's
these
good.
events. I'm
That's
going to
it.
be counting this one off just as we'll
That's
do
it.
for all the final events that you'll
That's
see
it.
here today.
Okay. We'll turn it
We're
over
going to
now.
be seeing 8 or 9 events going on here today. You'll be seeing the springboard, as I mentioned, the axe throw.
Just go nice and easy. Don't push on it too hard. Just nice and easy. Just like a saw with a handsaw.
Okay. Am I pulling it more than
Pull
pushing?
and pushing, but just easy.
The 2 chainsaw. We're ready for the ceremonial first cut. Jerry, are you ready?
Yeah.
Mike, are you ready?
Ready? Go.
Lumberjacks ready?
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's hear it on. Jerry, good going. All right, applause for Mike Sullivan and Jerry McGinnis.
We
That was
let
good.
you,
That
Mike.
was good.
Thank you, man.
That was good.
Is there some potential there?
There's some potential there.
Mike is now up with Jim Colbert on the first
Ah,
tee of
bad
the
wood.
Springboard chops.
Bad wood. That's what the Lumberjacks all say, don't they? Hey, Mike's one of our favorites around here at Timber Sports, and just before this event, he had a long talk with his father, picked up some advice, and now shares it with us.
He told me that it looks like that I've gone as far as I can sawing the way I was sawing, with one hand on the handle and the other hand on top of the saw to guide it. Basically, when you saw that way, you're only sawing with one hand. You're driving all the saw with just this one hand and not doing very much but controlling the saw with the top hand. So Melvin and Rollins saw with 2 hands, Matt saws with 2 hands. I've gone to 2 hands, and it's going to take a while to adjust and get it to come right, he says, because I'm so used to doing it the other way, but when it does, I think it'll be better. I'll be strong with 2 hands.
All right, Jerry Scott from Portville, New York, and Rick Halverson will compete in the first heat of the single buck. And this is very much like the 2-man buck that Mike Sullivan and I enjoyed so much showing you a minute ago, except, of course, you're on your own. On your own, with the exception of some intense encouragement coming from your second or your helper sitting on the log. And this is just one cut through the 24-inch log and probably needs to be done in 27, 28 seconds in order to place. Rick Halverson, yes, sir, about a second ahead of Scott. And next up is Mike Slingerland, a New York boy, against Jim Colbert for our next heat. And I want you to remember that all these events started with from 20 to 40 competitors before finally reaching 6 for these finals. Man, we're really watching 2 very different styles here, aren't we? Slingerland with his real sharp, fast strokes. Jim Colbert using those long, steady strokes. Close to the bottom right here, and I'm not so sure if the long, steady strokes didn't win this heat. Colbert barely nosed out Slingerland. Okay, it's time to check out Mike Sullivan's new 2-handed cutting technique. Boy, he's going to try it against a tough one, too. Matt Bush. Single buck is Matt's best event, too. This will be a good one. I want you to notice that the lower Matt sinks into the cut, the harder he drives. Mike's right behind him. Matt's a tall competitor now, and he really uses his height to his advantage, and his helpers are giving him such a bad time. Believe it's going to pay off, though. Matt wins this heat. As a matter of fact, he very likely won the whole event. Yes, sir. Matt Bush, 26.66, great cut. And he's followed very closely by Jim Colbert and then Mike Sullivan. Good cut by Mike, and Slingerland in 4th place. Okay, how about an overall winner today? Well, congratulations to Ron Johnson, 1st place. And in 2nd is Charlie Wyken, then Jim Colbert in 3rd, and Mike Sullivan in 4th. and these competitors have picked up some real valuable steel points towards the Grand Championship Finals in Nelsonville, Ohio. And I'm Jerry McKinnis saying that I sure hope we'll see you there.
The STIHL Timber Sports Series was brought to you by STIHL, the world's largest selling chainsaw. When you depend on tools, depend on STIHL.
What?